I'm Sara from the Colorful Apple, and I wanted to share something with you today that I hope is going to help you help families when they read aloud with their child at home. I know that whether it was at parent-teacher conferences or open house, I got the same question every single time from parents. How can I help my child become a better reader? My answer to them was read. Read aloud to them, read with them, share books with them. But that's not so easy for families. As teachers, we read aloud every single day in our classrooms. So it comes really naturally to us. We know which books to choose to help our students. We know what questions to ask, what things to point out to kids. But families don't know that if they're not reading aloud all the time. And oftentimes what happens is families they overthink the process. They make it overcomplicated, and then they don't end up reading with their child as much as they should because they just don't know how. So I wanted to create something to address some of these struggles. And some of the struggles that parents or families shared with me were, what do I read aloud? How do I read aloud? What do I say? What questions do I ask? They get really nervous about it, and it's understandable because it's something that they don't do very often. And it can seem a little scary if it's not something you do a lot. And so I wanted to create something that I could hand to them, a guide that I could give them to kind of take them along the journey into reading with their child and making it a great experience and making it something that comes natural to them, that they do every day, and not something that's a chore that has to be checked off or just one more thing they need to do in their busy lives. So I'm going to share that with you today. And the best part is it's free. You're going to get the whole thing. So I'm going to go through the step-by-step. I'm going to go through all the things that are in this toolkit that you'll get for free. So the toolkit looks like this, and I use just a zip pouch from Amazon. You're going to want something to put all the pieces in because there's a lot of resources that I'm going to give you. A large envelope would work, a folder would work, a large Ziploc bag would work, anything that will fit a full-size sheet of paper. So I use one of these. The first thing that you're going to get, I'm going to provide the link for you in the description of this video so that you can grab this for free, and you'll get all the pieces in it. So the first thing that you'll get is a parent's guide to reading aloud. So in this guide it's going to start with the research behind read alouds. Why is it so important? Why is it important to not only read aloud, but read aloud at home? Why is it important for kids? Why is it important for families? And how is it going to make them a better reader? Also included in here are frequently asked questions. Parents ask me, well, I just don't have time. And that's really understandable. Our lives are so busy. And it gives examples or ideas for things to do if you don't have a lot of time and how you can make read alouds work every day in their family. There are other questions such as, what if my child can read on their own? Why do I need to read with them or read aloud to them if they can read on their own? It gives them answers to that. It helps them with how to choose a book, who to look for, or who to ask for help when choosing books to read aloud at home. It gives them tips for using the local library. That's a tool that's underutilized. A lot of parents or families don't use it as much as they should, and there's so much good information and books and things that they can do at the library. So this guide gives them tips for using the library. The next thing that you're going to get in your toolkit are read aloud questions, and these will be there'll be a couple sheets of paper, so you can either just print out the pages or I cut them out and put them on a book ring. These read aloud questions are not comprehension questions. These are compelling questions that can be used with any book. They can be used with a picture book, with a novel, for any age level. And they're to get conversations started between parents and their child. What questions can we ask to get them engaged in this book, to create those conversations and discussions with each other so that everyone is a part of the story and that it makes it fun and exciting to read and want to share with each other. At the beginning of these questions, I also have kind of guidelines for parents. I tell them, don't use every question for every single book. You'll go crazy, and it'll get boring after a while. But they should try to pick one or two, switch it up, add in your own questions. Lots of tips for them for using these because they can be really helpful as long as they use them correctly. So there are those tips in there for them. Another question that I always get is, what book should my child be reading? And every child is different. So again, I created these. You can print them on a sheet of paper or cut them out and put them on a book ring, but they are kind of like trading cards, and they have book suggestions on them depending, they're broken up by subject. So if you have a student that loves animals, here are 8 or 9 book examples that have animals in them. There's some about sports, about technology, different things that students might be interested in. This can be brought, parents can bring these with them to the local library, to the bookstore, when they're looking for books for their child. And again, it's a starting point for parents, and hopefully once they start using these, they'll get more into the habit of it and really using it and getting to help their child find books that they're really interested in and understanding how to find those books. The next thing that you're going to get in your toolkit is a reading journal. This reading journal is not to be passed in for a grade. This is just for parents and families to celebrate with their child the books that they've read. So you can create your own. So I've created the cover, and then inside they can write down the title and the author of the books that they've read together. This is just to create a treasury of things that books they've shared together. They can look back on it. They can use it to find other things they might be interested in and look for trends through this. I've also created, you can just print out the cover and put it on a composition notebook if you really want kids to write down a lot of books. So there's those 2 things that you can have in your toolkit that you can send home with parents and really make this something that will help them and make reading more exciting at home. So how would you use this toolkit? When are some times that would be helpful to use them? At the beginning of the year, you can send home the whole toolkit at open house or meet the teacher, whatever your school does, and you can send the whole thing home with anyone that attends. You could only send it home with parents that ask. For example, parent-teacher conferences, I always get that question, how can I help my child become a better reader? So if you can hand it out to specific parents who really request that the information for helping their child become a better reader. You could use it at a literacy night. If your school hosts a literacy night, that would be a great thing to send. The toolkit would be a great thing to send them home with, that tangible object that they can take away with them and have at home to reference when they need to. I know many teachers have used it at the end of the year. They've sent home maybe a book with their child, and this is included with it. All these resources for parents, for families to use over the summer to keep that momentum going, that reading going throughout the summer, keeping track of those books, just so that they can see what they've done and what else they can add to it and really get excited about reading. So I hope that this will be helpful for you. Like I said, I left the link to this free toolkit in the description of this video for you to download, and I hope that it will be helpful for you to use in your classroom. And thank you for joining me.